Welcome to the journey of uncovering who you are meant to be. I'm Rachel Weaver, your jack of all trades manifesting generator that will light the way. In this space, we'll explore what authenticity means so that you can wake up every single day saying, "Oh my God, I love who I am." Buckle up, my friends, because we're in for a wild ride as we decondition what the world has told us to be so that our soul can rest in who we're meant to be. Your soul has a message for the world, and this is where we find the gold and let her shine bright. You're in the right place if you want to build a business on the foundation of your authentic self. Let's go be you, babe. Hello and welcome, friend, to another episode of the Be You Babe podcast. Today, we are actually going to talk about my chart. We're going to break it down. I'm going to give you the whole spiel on my history with human design and why I freaking love it so much. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you'll see a little pop-up of what my chart actually looks like. But for those listening on the podcast, so I am a 4/6 sacral manifesting generator with the cross of tension. And I found human design, God, I think it's like 8 years ago now. I was in my early 30s. So yeah, like 8 years ago now. And the first thing that just got me in my gut was the manifesting generator and how you're not meant to do one thing, that you are meant to do lots of different things. And it was a huge light bulb and like relief that my bouncing around to all these different things and constantly diving into new pursuits was actually correct for me. It made sense for me, right? I didn't necessarily give myself permission still, even after learning that it was totally correct. There was still some deconditioning work to do there, but I at least didn't continue to berate and like pull myself down because I kept changing my mind, right? I was at least wasn't forcing myself into a box anymore. And the first thing that I think I really wanted to understand was worthiness, because I knew when I found human design, worthiness was a really big thing for me. I never felt worthy of um my work. I never felt worthy of I never felt worthy of success. There was a lot of worthiness stuff to unpack there. And it made sense when you look at my chart. Like I have an open will. I have one gate and that's it. Other than that, it's open. And when in the open will, there is the opportunity to take on other people's thoughts about worthiness and um, identify with them. And I think some of it comes from my childhood. I know a lot of it comes from my childhood, that the people around me didn't necessarily believe that they were worthy of things. And so I took that on, that I wasn't worthy either. Right. And it played out in my work. It played out in my ability to grow a business. It played out in my ability to, I had a corporate job for a little while, and I never felt like I belonged there. So that was like the first thing I really tackled was understanding that open will center, which is funny because it, I, it, it's funny because manifesting generators like to kind of like skip things and then we come back, right? I kind of skipped ahead to deconditioning all my openness without really truly understanding strategy and authority. First, I skipped over that. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, to respond. Okay, yeah, sacral, I got that. Yeah, got yes or no, right? And kind of like skipped over it. And well, yes, I was following the sacral yes or no in big decisions. Like it was very predominant, always has been. I would follow it, right? I wasn't doing it in the moment, and I'll get to that, of like why I wasn't doing it in the moment. I was still creating from my head. I was still living outside of the moment. And here's the thing: the sacral cannot uh, respond when you're in the present or in the future or in the past. You have to be super present and in the moment for it to respond. That's what it's responding to. Can't respond to the future, can't respond to the past, right? So if you're like I was chronically in the future or the past. And so my sacral couldn't really, it was hard to discern what was actually in my head, what was intuition, I have a defined spleen, so there was like defined spleen knowing stuff happening, and it was really hard to pull apart all of those different pieces and understand what was what, right? And so kept going down this deconditioning path. I realized that I'm also open emotional, like, and what that means, the people pleasing, always wanting to, like, I'll say what someone needs to hear, so they're happy, right? So that I don't have to deal with their negative feelings, so that I don't have to feel that unhappiness within them. And this was super eye-opening too, of like how I absorb the emotions of other people, whether it's my immediate family, if it's somebody I'm sitting next to and something, like I can feel that. And once I understood like what was mine and what wasn't, right? Just even asking, like, "I'm feeling anxious. Is this even mine?" And disentangling that, it like opened up that I could voice what I needed to voice because I was no longer identifying with the emotions of the other person. I could say what I wanted to say because I didn't worry as much about what they would think. It didn't matter what they thought. Like I was going to speak what I want, my truth, right? And I wasn't. I had like boundary up on like, no, you can feel whatever you want to feel about what I have to say, but I'm still going to say it, and it doesn't mean anything about me, right? Obviously, there's still compassion and things like that, but it's like I'm not dimming my lights because I want to make sure that you're okay, you're happy. Like I'm going to be me. I'm going to be the full expression of me, right? um and in the last 6 months, I have moved on to disentangling my open head and open ajna and understanding how they have played a major role in keeping me out of strategy and authority, which has been really interesting. Um, and disentangling from just how much the mind wants to know the how, right? And if it doesn't know the how, if it can't find the how, it's going to make up a how. And often the how that it makes up is either, I mean, it limits the universe, number one. And number two, it's probably going to be something negative, right? And it's not helpful when speaking your truth if your head is making up a bunch of shit. um, so that's really been a huge journey for me. But I also wanted to talk about today how I use my design in my messaging, and allow it to be a full expression of who I am, especially energetically, right? So I have 5 centers defined. I have my throat, G center, sacral, root, and spleen. And the G center, sacral, and root all filter through the spleen and then up to my throat. All the energy in your chart is trying to get to your throat. So mine has to filter through the spleen. And so that 1648 channel is really, really important to how I express myself, how I express the energy of my sacral, how I express my identity, even in my direction, is filtered through splenic energy. My doing is filtered through splenic energy. And spleen is very in the moment, it's very intuitive, and there's fears and anxieties there. And I have all but one gate lit up in my spleen. There is a lot going on there. And truth to be told, like I am afraid of what the future or the past repeating itself. I am afraid of the future. Like there's so much that's like that is just consistently always there. And once I realized that those fears, those splenic energies are consistent, they will always be there, I stopped fighting it, right? I realized that they are always going to be there, and I can make friends with them. I can be like, cool. Yep, there's that fear again of the past repeating itself. And that's okay. Like I can still move on. I can still come to my edge and push the edge a little bit, right? Um, and so the 1648 is talent and enthusiasm. And it's taken me so long to figure out what my talent is, because honestly, I have a lot of talents. I can do a lot of things, pick things up really quickly, especially if I love them. I was really good at art. I like to say I was good at architecture, but I went to school for it. I was decent at it. I started doing photography and picked up that really, really quickly. Became very good photographer. Writing, I picked that up and became pretty good at writing pretty quickly. And even human design, I look at it and I can pick it up, and it wasn't a difficult thing to understand the knowledge there, right? So it was like, what's the talent here? What am I supposed to be enthusiastic about? And it came down to understanding the manifesting generator energy of combining things, passions, right? So many different passions that I have all come together to make a new talent. And I enthusiastically get to share that. So somebody that has a projector, a slinging projector with the 1648 channel is going to express that talent and enthusiasm in a slightly different way than I do, because they're projector where I'm a manifesting generator. So they're more in like, what's the system? What is the and they have a more specific talent that's not bringing in a whole bunch of crazy shit like I do. Uh, and so it's a little bit different. So each layer of your design is going to kind of flavor who you are, right? And how you express yourself. That's what makes everyone so different and uncopyable, right? And so that 1648 shows up in my messaging with the talent that I'm combining things. Mini Jen combines things, and I get to enthusiastically share it. Um, and I think the other thing about the core messaging for mini gens, and this is something I feel really gives me so much space and flexibility, especially when I pivot and all the time, right? And change my mind all the time, is having an umbrella niche. So my umbrella niche is honestly, it's just how I combine the things, how I combine copy and human design to help you express yourself more fully and more authentically. Like that's the umbrella. I can offer so many different things underneath of that. I can offer DIY things. I can offer um like one session things. I can offer a deep dive one-on-one or group, or maybe it's a mastermind. Like there's so many different things I could offer underneath that umbrella of my core message. And that core message doesn't change a whole lot. Maybe it will in like 5 to 10 years from now, but for like this intensive purpose, it gives me a lot of space to change my offer. And I do feel like my offer changes every 6 months. It shifts in some way, shifts for my schedule, shifts for what I see my clients needing more support in. It's like always shifting underneath, but the core message is always the same. Um, and that's the same with all my mini gens. It's what I help all the mini gens understand is what are these pieces that we're bringing together, and what is this umbrella we're putting over it? What are the through line threads that bring it all together, right? The other thing is Mercury, and I mainly look at the conscious side. Um, I think you can get a little nuanced and you look into the unconscious side. So, but my conscious is 12, gate 12. And it's the only other, gate I have in my throat too. And it's about right timing, and if you're not ready to talk about something, it's gonna feel like wheels grinding, and I have 100% experienced this, like, if I try and go, "I should talk about this thing," and I'm like, it's like the words don't come out, I feel frustrated, I feel like an idiot, I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Versus being super present in the moment, trusting my sacral on what needs to be talked about, and then going, "Oh, okay." And then trust is a huge piece of that gate. Trusting that what I'm gonna say is gonna be helpful for people, and it's going to be exactly what needs to be said and what they need to hear, right? That's like the energy of gate 12 and the Mercury, which is communication. So that's how I use that gate, and actually I used it for this episode, I was like, what am I going to do today? I need to record an episode. Like, oh, I could record my own chart. I haven't really, like, I've talked about it in pieces here and there, but I've never really talked about my entire chart. Excuse me. Like, that would be so much fun. Cool. I'm going to do that. Right. I'm ready to talk about it. Um, Another piece is the right cross of tension. I hated this cross when I first gate 39 is my sun gate. Provoking. I really don't like the way that Raw talks about this because it's like you poke at people and you kind of annoy them. And I do see a little bit of that, how I do kind of push people a little bit, push their buttons a little bit. Um, but I try to do it as discerningly as possible because I do sense when someone's out of alignment, especially with their message. I can look at your chart, look at your website, and tell you if things are off or not. Almost guaranteed, every like 99.9%. Actually, no, everybody I've done that for has been like, yeah, you're right. Like, I know it's hard to be that person that says, this is off and we need to fix it. And there's other energies like that in the chart, like challenge has a lot of that kind of energy of pushing and whatnot. Uh, for me, I use it as a way to help other people get into alignment with their authentic self. I want everyone showing up as their authentic self. I think the more that we do that, the more we are all in our own, like, brilliance and light and genius, the better the world is going to be. So if I can point out, excuse me, a little bit of what is not quite in alignment because you're afraid to look at it or because you hadn't realized it yet, then that's what I'm going to do. I do try to at least have people ask me, right? Like, hey, will you look at this? And I will absolutely look at it and I'll probably tell you what I see. um, so that's how I use my gate 39. It's more of inviting people and really sharing what I do see, right? It's not per se in my messaging, but it is for sure in the energy that I carry. Oh, my profile. Oh, I like talking about this one. So I'm a 4/6. I did not again, I didn't really relate to this one, for a long time because I wasn't in truly embodying the 6th line. So the 6th line is unconscious. It has those 3 phases. I did experiment a lot I was very outgoing in my like first 30 years. I was like, loved to go to parties, loved to be around other people. It gave me energy. I loved it. Now I'm like, oh my God, no. Takes me days to recover. It's really funny, actually. Um, and I'm in this phase where I am observing everything I've learned and I'm integrating it. And the integration is paramount as a 6th line. If you're not integrating your truth and what you're learning as your truth, then it's really hard to step into that role model role because you're still trying to be what everyone else is telling you to be instead of truly understanding who you are and what you came here to be. I hope that makes sense. So integrating, once I started to truly integrate what I was learning, then it was easier to step into that role model. I'm still integrating, I'm still in that middle phase, but it felt more natural. It felt more like, okay, I can come down off the roof, share what I know, and then retreat back for a little while, integrate some more, come down, right? Kind of go back and forth in that way. Mm. Doing that opened the door to the 4th line networker. Prior to understanding this integration piece, the networking was not there. I mean, I'd meet one person here or there or something like that, but it wasn't full on like, I wasn't meeting the people I needed to be meeting. And once I started integrating, that's when opportunities started coming, the right people, all these different collaborations started happening all on their own. Like, I didn't have to seek anything out. They just came to me. And it was because I was integrating what I truly believe is truth and sharing it from that place. So that's the 4 6. Also, as a fourth line, I'm coming to realize that like I don't have to do this on my own. It is like it's a collaborative thing. Like I everything will be so much easier, so much lighter if I lean into that collaboration part of it and nurturing relationships and that they will help me grow. Like I don't have to be out here on solo island. Like I'm going to do it with a group of people, group of women, whatever. Right. Um, what else do I want to talk about? Um, I'm single definition, meaning all of my centers are connected and it can be an independent energy where you don't need somebody to bridge a gap. You can be, and I am insanely independent. Um, and it like, it's only one voice. The people that have split definition can feel like there's more than one voice in them. But for me, it does, the voices, the different voices that I hear are more like my open head. Not like when I am truly in my definition, there's one voice, there's one energy. It's all working together. And it truly is how it feels. Uh, mm, yeah. So now I feel like moving forward, it's for me, with my human design, it's leaning even more into the now and the sacral and what is lighting me up and where it's taking me, trusting where it's taking me, not fighting it because I think I did fight it for a really, really long time until recently. And just even more talent and enthusiasm of whatever that I'm doing is sharing it and sharing it openly and is like because I freaking love human design. It is the tool that has helped me the most. And I've done so many tools. I've done inner child work, I've done EFT, I've done um uh eh, there's so many energy things and they all have a place. They all have helped in some way, but human design is the one that has helped me the most, I guess. In understanding who I am, how my energy works, how I'm communicating, how people are interacting with me and how I can be more of my authentic self. Um, so yeah, that's my chart. I have been thinking of maybe breaking down other people's charts. I don't know. This is like an idea I'm playing with, so I'm going to throw it out there. If you would like your chart broken down like this, let me know. I would love to do it, and we'll kind of take it from here and see what response. See that response I get. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a great week. Oh, that was amazing, wasn't it? If you enjoyed this, and please share it with your friends, write a review. It helps to get the word out. And if you want to dive in deeper to what authentic copy and messaging is for you, then please visit rachelweaver.com where there's guides and templates and more options for one-on-one copywriting, all specific to you and your energy. I thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Be you, babe.